Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the IS-5, or Object 730. This is the cheapest premium Tier 8 heavy tank which Wargaming have ever put out for us. I'm sorry, come again, Skate? Yes. This is the cheapest Tier 8 premium heavy tank which has ever been available. I'm going to put this in straight away. This is a good tank. And it's only going to cost 1,500 gold. What's the catch, you ask? Well, there isn't really a catch. You need to get Tier 10 clan supply. You don't need to get it within a certain time frame, and you don't need to rush it. So if you want this tank for 1,500 gold, you just need to be patient. Obviously you need to be in a clan, but you don't need to rush. You will naturally just accumulate the XP as part of the clan to go up to the next tier. And then when you do, and you get your personal access level and your clan access level, this tank will appear for you for a grand total of 1,500 gold. Now, some people are going to be frustrated by the fact that you have to wait. I'm not bothered by that. This isn't a grinding event. We don't have 14 days to do it in, or anything like that. This is quite simply, you play the game as normal, and once you've accessed Tier 10 level clan supply, you'll have the tank. Obviously, once you've paid the 1,500 gold, but who's not going to pay 1,500 gold for a good Tier 8 premium tank? Now, there are, 8 Tier 8. There are 8 Tier 8 premium heavy tanks, so we've got plenty of them. But would you take another one for 1,500? I know I'm going to. It's just a case of being patient and wait until, obviously, a clan hits the Tier 10 clan supply. Now, to get the Tier 10 clan supply, you will need 30 million XP between your clan. And then your personal access, you need 1.2 million XP. Now, these are high XP figures, but we are talking about Tier 10 clan supply. There will obviously be other goodies as part of Tier 10 clan supply. I'm not bothered by them. All I care about is a cheap tank. I'm easy. And then after all the other things which we've had, which are a little bit controversial, for them to pretty much say, hey, well, once you get to Tier 10 clan supply, here is a really cheap Tier 8 premium tank for you, well, I'm going to take it. And as I mentioned, it's not a grinding event because you just play the game as normal, and then once you accumulate the required amount, you unlock it, and then obviously you pay for it. Now you're probably thinking, it's that cheap, it's going to be bad. No, it's actually very good. It's pretty much the same as all the other Tier 8 premium Russian heavy tanks. Well, I say that. The tank it plays most like is actually an IS-8. Basically, the IS-5 is the prototype version of the IS-8. They made 10 IS-5s and then went through trials. They all received upgrades and then they went into production. And then they were adopted in service. When they went into service, they went in with the designation of IS-8. As you can see, it does look like an IS-8. It's just stripped back. It doesn't have as many of the detailed things on it. Now, one of its shining features is this tank is more mobile than the IS-3, the IS-6, the Glacial, and the IS-3 Defender. It has a higher top speed than all of them. And as we know, at Tier 9, the IS-8 armor is not the greatest. You're dropping it a tier here. So it's now going to be facing Tier 7s. The armor is going to be better as a result. And here's the other thing that threw me. The hull armor on this is better than an IS-8. In fact, again, it's better than an IS-3, an IS-6, and a Glacial 112. What? Yep, this has a higher top speed than pretty much all the other Tier 8 premium Russian heavy tanks, and it also has better armor. This thing on the sides has 120mm, which is sloped, by the way. The IS-3 has 90, the IS-6 has 100, the Glacial has 80, and an IS-8 has 80. But this, as I mentioned, has 120 on the sides. Obviously, we've mentioned the Tier 8 figures there. Just for a comparative, the side armor on an IS-7 is 150mm thick. So the side armor on this, which is angled, is exactly halfway between an IS-3 and an IS-7. But yet it's substantially better than the IS-8. Obviously this is only a preview. I will do a full in-depth review of the tank once it's out on the public test server, so we can actually get some good proper examples of the gameplay. But you can see the mobility here. If you compare this to one of your other Tier 8 Russian heavy tanks, going downhill picked up plenty of speed, and going uphill it's still very mobile. And you'll notice the gun. The gun is pretty much identical to that on the IS-6. Now the IS-6 has 221mm of pen with the stock APCR on the 122mm D30A gun. This one also has 220mm. It has 270 on the heat, exactly the same as the IS-6, except this, compared to the IS-6 with no equipment fitted, has an extra 100 DPM. It has exactly the same stock gun dispersion as an IS-6, with just provisions fitted here. I've got it on 0.389. The only difference here is this has 5 degrees of gun depression and IS-6 has 6. The IS-6 has 20 degrees of gun elevation and this has 17. So the IS-6 wins in that aspect. Also, the stock aim time on the IS-6 is 2.81. On this, it is 2.9. So again, it's a very negligible amount, but there is a difference. That being said though, this has more hit points than the rest. This has 1,550, an IS-6 has 1,470, the Glacial has 1,500. So to sum up, it's slightly more mobile. I mean, watch the speed it picks up coming out across here now. Obviously we're coming towards this T-32. It does take a shot at me, I do take a shot back, but look at the pickup speed. We're going slightly downhill. You wouldn't get that pickup from an IS-3. That's more comparative to an IS-8. The downside, obviously, is the gun, which is the same on every single Russian heavy tank. The gun accuracy is awful, but that's not a weakness compared to other Tier 8 premium heavy tanks, because all their guns are awful when it comes to accuracy. Now, being as this tank is also based on an IS-8, I am going to assume this thing suffers horribly with ammo racks. I can't say for certain, but let's be fair, it's based on an IS-8, and an IS-8 is very easy to ammo rack. And it's Russian, so it's also easy to ammo rack. So pretty much, although I can't confirm 100%, I'm going to go with my gut and say I have no doubt this suffers with exactly the same issues that the IS-8 does, which is damaged ammo rack exploding. But that obviously comes as no surprise to anybody who likes their Russian heavy tanks. It's just something you learn to live with when you go out, someone takes one shot at you, and you occasionally just magically lose all of your health. So that's normal, I think. It's hard to recommend tanks when they're not on the live server, but it's hard not to recommend a tank when you're playing it and you're sitting there going, this tank costs 1,500 gold. It's hard not to want to recommend it. It's 1,500 gold. It's cheaper than any Tier 5 premium tank, and it's a Tier 8, and you don't have to grind for it like you would in any of the other grinding events. You quite simply just play the game as normal, and eventually you'll unlock it. You don't have to push for it, you don't have to work for it, you just play the game as normal. And then you'll get it. That's it. So for me, this is going to be a must-get. I've got to get this tank. Just because of the price. Yeah, I've already got loads of Tier 8 premium heavy tanks in my garage. I don't need any more. But this is going to have slightly different gameplay, ever so slightly by the way, but it is going to be slightly different. It's slightly more mobile. It's got the same gun as you'd expect for a tier 8 Russian heavy tank. But it looks like it's going to be a good tank, especially when you look at the armor layout on that hull. The turret, by the way, has 201 on the front, which is the same as the IS-8. So you're going to get penned by big caliber, high penetration guns. Other than that, a lot of things are going to bounce. The side has less armor, 129, and the rear has more. It has 90 on this. I have no doubt as a result that this is going to be fun to play. Pretty much just imagine an IS-8 one tier down and you have this tank. It's going to be no issue whatsoever, and it's going to be good fun to play. I hope you have enjoyed this preview. When the tank does go live, I will make a point of making a full, in-detailed review of it, rather than just a preview. Thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.